Hello everybody, thank you for coming back to the channel and welcome to this new chapter on building the Vinci Flyer from the renowned designer and builder Cliff Harvey, who we all know. So the big challenge that I had, or the first challenge that I had, is I went to the shop to get some more balsa and they were out of balsa, especially the sizes that I need. There's 1/8 which is 3.2 millimeters, 3/16 around 5 millimeters, and I think 1/16 maybe, no, and 1/4 which is around 6 millimeters. So they didn't have pretty much anything of what I wanted, but I can't wait any longer. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start with the tail plane because it's already a nice and interesting shape. I'm going to go with the V-tail because I've never done something like that and I have no idea how to configure that on the transmitter. And the only thing I have here is a 2.5 millimeter, which is less than the 1/8, but I hope it's sturdy enough and that it'll be able to hold out, and I think I have here enough. So I'll keep busy building the V-tail, and in the meantime hope that they take a new delivery of wood, that I can go and get some more wood to build the wings. So first strategy, what I'm going to do of course is using my proven method of using the masking tape, put pieces over the plan, trace them out with a pencil and then cut them out and cut out all the pieces, which is quite a few pieces, so it's going to keep me busy and having fun for quite a while. So when I have the pieces, at least part of them already cut out, I'll come back to you and we can discuss. I've spent a while now listening to Cliff with his odd shaped aeroplane while I build my own odd shaped aeroplane from Cliff. So actually quite enjoyable, all the pieces, to cut out the balsa pieces. The first thing I did, I made a mistake, so now the pieces are just laying here. The first thing I did, I didn't cut these thick enough because of course the tail plane actually is set up, it's configured that you can have a V-tail, what I'll go through, or you can also have a classical setup. So I interpreted the wrong lines, but no big damage done because the wood was then used on other pieces. So basically I've got all the pieces here laid out. As a curiosity, just or comment, most of the pieces are actually symmetrical, so it's enough to trace one out and then use that one to create the other one, which is actually quite fast, except for the struts. These struts here, or these, I don't know what to call them, formers or ribs, whatever, they're a little bit different, so I'm glad that I noticed that before actually cutting them, and I managed to do it directly on the plan, so differently from one side and the other. And other than that, very chunky wood from what I'm used to. I'm used to the 1 millimeter, 1.5 millimeter. This with a 2.5 millimeter, which is a bit less than 1/8. It feels really very thick, so it's different skills. I don't think it's so, I don't know if it's easier or harder. It needs more precision because on the 1 millimeter it doesn't actually matter, like the angle of cut is always correct, let's say. With this thickness already, then the angle of cut is already, can already make a big difference, so it is different. And this is the smallest wood that we have, the smallest thickness that we have on the plan, so for the rest I'm going to have to be very accurate. So let's see how it goes. Overall, as I say, enjoyable. Cutting balsa is fun. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to start to glue, but it's not going to be today, it's going to be another day. So I'm going to have to glue. I just have to watch out that it's two separate pieces, that so I don't need to glue it down the middle because then I would have to cut it. I can do it and then cut it, of course, and then I have to figure out this part, which is to build in the kind of the dihedral of the tail plane. This number, piece number TP9. I know how long it is, but how to get this angle accurately, that's going to be one of the challenges. I'm going to have to figure it out, probably build a jig or something, cut a jig, and then sand the piece down to shape, and that's the piece that then is going to hold the things together. So, but that's not going to be yet, and I'm thinking whether to start with the tissue covering or not. We'll see how it goes. Very chunky, interesting looking forward to continue. And here I have the first half of the V-tail, and I don't know if you can see it, but I can. There are some small gaps because my cutting is not as precise as I would like it to be, and it's not laser cutting. Also a little gap there, maybe this piece like just 1 millimeter, a little bit longer than it should. So the challenges of working with chunkier pieces of balsa are there, like often, as I think I mentioned already, with the small pieces of balsa, a dollop of glue actually covers a gap. Here it's much more difficult, so I have to watch out a little bit more for preciseness. So I've done this one half, now I'm going to do the other half, and once I have them, then I'm going to put them side by side and try to sand them to the same shape, to basically with whatever is smaller. So let's see if I can take it off the board now. It's been here all one day already, so it should be okay. And yeah, and there it is. So first part already off the board, actually quite sturdy, even if it's a little bit thinner than it should be by design, but I think it's quite sturdy. So as I said, I'm going to do the other half, and then I'm going to think how to assemble them together, and tissue and all that, and also do some sanding. I'll probably do some sanding around the edges just to round it off, that it's a little bit better. Not on the end, because on the end we have the actual, it's not an elevator, I don't know what it is, but it would be like an elevator there. So I'll do the other part, bring them together, and then show you the progress. So I've managed to do both sides. As you can see, here they're both sides. They're the same. I put them side by side. I had to trim them a little bit. Also a bit of the glue that I'd put on too much, as I tend to do. Don't know if you can see it, but I think the shape is actually very nice. So that's thanks to the designer. And then there's another piece that actually connects them that I've already glued to one side, which is actually quite challenging. It's what's piece TP9. I did it out of a 6mm, which is like a 1/4 inch. It's a 1/4 inch thick, and basically it's what holds both sides together in the V shape. I made a jig to try to get the angle of it. It was approximate, I'm going to say it like that. And this is of course very important, because all the, let's say, the tail, not the weight of it, but all the tension that will be there, the aerodynamic tension will also be on it. So it's important that it's really very well in place. So I hope that the glue holds out. I'm going to then put in another bead. The challenge is of course to sand this at an angle and sand it flat, which I kind of managed with a sanding block, but it is a challenge. And then the next step is going to be to glue it all together at the right place, and then this is how it's going to end up looking like. And then after that, and I'm not sure if I'm going to manage on this session or not, I'm going to start with the tissue covering, because I'm thinking that it's probably good to already do the tissue. I was thinking of waiting to do the tissue and then glue the two parts together, but then this will actually be just left alone. So I might do the tissue and the coloring and things like that as I go along, and then I spread it out a little bit. So let's see if I manage to glue this together, and then figure out how to do all the other parts. There are also the control horns that have to be done. We've got the design of the control horns very nicely on the plan. I don't know if you can see them. No, you can't. Here. Those are the control horns. I'll trace them out, make 2 of those, and have to figure out where I'm going to put them on the elevators, I'm going to call them. And basically then the parts are assembled, tissue, coloring, and then the tail plane should be ready soon. So here I am doing experiments that I'm not sure I'm going to regret. So I've put all the pieces together, and I've also covered it with tissue, with what's remaining from some of the old Willow kits. I'm still not sure what color design I'm going to give. I don't have that. I don't use the fantastic plastic cover that others use, so I'm with tissue. This time I'm using the glue stick to put the tissue on, and I'm kind of missing the water glue mix. It's different. I don't know if it's better or worse, but it is different. But anyhow, so it is still a bit sticky, but the tissue has gone on relatively okay, I would say, as it is flat. So that's going to be the parts. And then more experiments that I'm doing. I've covered in tissue also the elevators, or elevons, I'm not sure. No, elevators, I'm not sure what they're called. I've also created the horns, and I tissued the elevators, because if I just paint with spray paint the wood, then it gets all fluffy. So I'm hoping that like this it keeps well. The problem with this is that in some places, if it's not well glued in, then it looks strange. But I think I'm going to have to live with that. Potentially I could also redo this, right? So I've started to paint the elevators in yellow, and let's see what color I think up for the rest of the V-tail. So it's time now to wrap up. I hope you can see this, because I think there's a very big difference in light. There's the sunlight coming. I don't know if you can see it, but somehow the image is a bit wobbly. But anyhow, so as I was setting all this up, I realized that Cliff did think of everything and did put here a tail plane jig that I just noticed. So if I just put here the tail plane, I've actually got a smaller angle than actually designed. So I hope it is still okay. It just might impact the controllability of the pitch, right? Like maybe the left right will be okay. So I hope, I mean, it is a little bit of a difference, a significant difference actually. So I hope I didn't mess it up too much. What I've done, as you can see, I've spray painted the tissue, not completely uniform. The spray can spit out a little bit of, let's say, droplets of paint. And on this side actually I did a little bit too much. I don't know if you can see it again, but anyhow, I think at the distance it looks kind of okay. So if it ever gets to fly, and I hope it does get to fly, then it should look okay. And I've got also the elevators. I've already done, you can't see them, but I've done the holes for the hinges, for the fishing line hinges. I'm not going to put them on yet because it might also still be needed to adjust to put in the control rods. But basically the component is ready, even if not as good as it should be. I really hope it's not going to be enough, but anyhow, so the component is ready, so I put it aside, and then I have to move on to some other part, and I'm not sure what part to use. And what I think I might need to do is actually to go and get some more balsa. So that might be kind of the homework for the upcoming days. If not, I'm stuck. In any case, as always, thank you everybody for watching, for following along, and all your comments and recommendations, and I'll see you next time.